You're watching Gaming Potpourri with V and Z. This series takes a look at board games of all types and styles and gives them a quick critique. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Z.
All right, we're back.
Hey!
For our monthly Gaming Potpourri, which is probably a pretty stupid name.
I'm going to call it V and Z. Opine on your gaming time.
Now we're going to stick...
No? Too long.
Today we're looking at the Kosmos two-player line series. This is not all of them. This is maybe half, maybe a third. But we're going to talk about some of the more famous ones. So we're just going to quick tell you if they're good or not. That's it. All right, so here we go. First one, Kahuna.
All right, Kahuna. It's an okay game. It's somewhere in the middle, you know. If you like spatial relationship, if you like playing games where you can, you play cards and you put out pieces, it can be pretty confrontational, so be aware of that.
You play cards and put out pieces? All right.
Yeah, you got to be careful, though. You got to be careful who you play with. A lot of these games get played in couples, and I think for every single one of them, I'll give you an idea of how mean it is, you know.
Oh, for
Some
those
people want to avoid the really mean ones.
Well, this is a mean one.
This is fairly mean. There's some meaner stuff in that pile, but this is pretty mean. So if you don't want to, get smacked and you don't want to sleep on the couch, this is a 4.5 on the couch sleep scale.
This is one of my favorite of the series. The only reason I think kind of low is a little bit better because it's the same game but 4 players, and you can play it 4 players.
Yeah.
So, all right.
It's okay.
Next is Dracula. Now this one is, when you're talking about mean, this one's meant to be mean in a sense because you have to attack each other the whole time.
I think it's meant to be mean, but it's a memory game in part, and you'll forget if you're being you might be mean just because, hey, I forgot that was there. Sorry, I was mean. If it loses that edge because you are attempting to remember where things went. Now, as far as using that memory element, I think it uses it fairly well. It's not, oh God, another memory game. I hate memory. This is okay. If you don't remember exactly where things are, the game will not smack you around.
Yeah, I like this one because I think the theme fits fairly well.
Yeah.
I like the hunting down, and I'm usually not a huge fan of memory, but this one doesn't have a ton of it. And even if you have a great memory, everything gets moved around so much.
Yeah, pretty often, yeah.
So, Dracula, one person's Dracula, the other one's...
I like that the sides are different also, So if you like that in games, if you like the CCG-ish aspect in games, this is a good one, because both sides have slightly different special actions. And this is good stuff for that. There's something else in there that's better, and I'll talk about it next, in fact.
All right, so now we come to the worst game of the ones we're going to talk about today.
This is the best game we're going to talk about today, or second best.
Really? You like this one that much?
I like it. I love it.
How many expansions do you have for it?
All of them. That's 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I have not played any of the expansions. I only played the base game, and I said, this is it? You move a dragon around, you try to win the dragon. It feels like...
I played and I said, this is it! You try to move a dragon around, you try to win that dragon!
Well, this feels like Condottiere, those kind of games, but there's only one spot. It just seems so restrictive.
Well, the thing about that game, Condottiere, is that you get up to 40s, 50s, the numbers get crazy. In this, you're looking at 13 as like a blowout score that the person has to respond to. And again, if you like CCGs, but you don't want that investment in time or monetary investment, this is a great game, which is actually out of print now. I don't know if you knew that.
Which shows how great it is.
Which they need to reprint. Fantasy Flight. Get on the horn with this. This is a great 2-player game.
I don't necessarily agree, but the computer did. All right, Bolon Cup. This is by Stephen Glenn. It has something to do with balloons, but essentially you're just playing cards on your side or your opponent's side to win cubes, which then you change into trophies. This one is, I almost want to say it's a kinder, nicer version of Lost Cities.
I would agree with that. It's also much less computational. There's a lot less math in it. So if you're afraid of the math in Lost Cities, this is a better choice.
This is a very easy one to get into. Yeah. So
that's probably the simplest.
Of the ones we're playing today, yeah, I think so.
So if you're looking for simple 2-player game, and you're not worried about theme just not being there, or floating away if you would, this is a good one.
Move it away. All right. Now this one is not out in English, as we well know.
Thank the Lord!
because, well, I mean, all they do is reprint the tiles and such. This is Avalon. This is by Leo Calavini, which is. And did you say this was his best game?
No, sadly, this is like his third best game, which isn't saying much because I think Leo Calavini's games, most of them are designed to like test sleep patterns. So this is somewhere between that and a game. It's okay. The problem is, it's okay. We don't need okay games anymore. We need good games, or better than that. You know, this is forgettable.
It's interesting. I will say that on the mean scale, this one's pretty high. You really can slam each, especially once you start falling behind. You might as well end the game at that point.
Right.
Because the other guy should be like, really? Well, aha, and some more. I think it's unique amongst these.
It's different. It's also forgettable, though. I mean, as soon as I finished playing, I couldn't teach it. It was that forgettable.
All right, well then,
I thought it was just...
then forget it. This is one of the most critically acclaimed games of the series, Jambo, because it's one of the few games that you can actually trade. It's a trading game that works for 2 players.
Yeah.
I can think of like less than 5.
Yeah, and the trick with that is they don't trade with each other. You trade with a middle pile, which is usually the trick that games that trade with 2 people use. And this one uses it really well. This game is probably, like I said, my favorite was probably Blue Moon or this game right here. Because they both have a lot of special action cards. They both have a lot of theme, a lot of flavor. Yes, this is fairly mean with those animal cards. Meaner than Blue Moon. But if you're okay with that, this is a great game. And it appeals both to people who like Euros and people who like American-style games, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And this is one of the games that I think has an almost essential expansion, a really cool little expansion, adds a lot of cards and doesn't overwhelm you, but also adds some variants. So there's really a lot of different ways. This has probably more replayability than any of the other games we're talking about. I think even more than Blue Moon.
Well, it depends. Blue Moon, there's 9 expansions, and you can get any one you want, okay? Actually, there's 7 basic ones and then 2
Yeah, but I'm saying
ones.
this gives you almost as much as that.
The thing about this game is there's 2 expansions for it. And I would recommend, if you're going to get one, get both. Because if you get both, you can just mix the cards right in. The balance is correct. Of wear cards to special action cards. Okay?
I see.
If you get just one, you're going to have to pull cards out. You're going to have to tweak with it. You know, you have to mess with it. Just get both if you really like the game. And shuffle them right in, and it works beautifully. This is a great game.
By the way, you might notice that we are not actually saying how to play these games. You have to go elsewhere to find that. We're just giving quick opinions on them.
We opine.
The next one is one of my favorites of the series, and that's Hera and Zeus, which is also known as Card Stratego.
Basically, yeah. And this is a good one, too. My problem with this game, I really like the mechanics. I really like the game. I wish the cards were not so text independent. We could use a little help in knowing what everything does. You're going to have to check a reference card every time you want to do anything, and it bogs you down, you know.
That's true. I think that even after you know how the game plays and you know how everything is, it's really easy to forget because, wait, oh, he's the one that does that.
Right.
The only one I ever remember is Pandora because she blows up everything.
But then she's got another use in your hand, another use on the table, you know.
This is a very confrontational game, but you know that going in. And the thing I like about Hera and Zeus is that there's multiple ways to win. Right. You can win by getting the card out of someone's hand, or attacking, or basically stopping them from being able to do anything else. A good one.
Yeah, but if you're a Stratego player and you want to step into this kind of game, this is probably a nice, easy step.
All right, Hera and Zeus.
Stuff. I like this.
Here is the most famous game of this series, and that's Lost Cities. For a long time, when people would say, "What game should I play with my special spouse?"
Your special spouse as opposed to the one we don't talk about. What do I play with the other spouse? You play Bolon Cup. She's not gonna.
But anyhow, the Lost Cities is very popular, and it's just playing a bunch of numbers on the side of the table.
Yeah.
It's very mathematical, especially with the scoring. Take your points, double them, or subtract 20, then double them. And yet, I really enjoy it because this gives me a level of tenseness that this is one of the few games that I really want to throw my cards at the wall when my wife beats me because it's so tense.
Right. Yeah, it's all about timing, too, because you know when the deck runs out, the game's going to be over, and you've got so many things you can do before that happens, and you can just see it dwindling. And you know you're okay, I can't do enough, you know. The problem I have with it, I really like it a lot. I would enjoy, or I have actually enjoyed playing electronically immensely more than playing this way because the scoring can be a pain. You know, when you're looking at, okay, you lose 20, then you add everything up, and then you might have to multiply, and now you have to do this 5 times across your side and 5 times across the other side. It can be a pain.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. This is the only game I card count in, I think. Usually I don't care. I hate when I'm playing a game with someone, they're like, hang on, you got 5, 6, 7, 8, so the game could end. I'm like, no. But in this one, I actually do count I count the draw pile a lot, because if you make one mistake, you are totally messed over.
I count how many cards are left. I don't count what they are. Can't do that.
Odins Ravens is a 2-player racing game about ravens that are racing.
Theme.
No, there's not much theme. It's all about card manipulation and making the racetrack smooth for you. It's a good game. I wonder if this one has not held up as well as the other ones for me. I liked it.
It's an interesting race game. I like race games. It's one of my favorite genres. And as far as a race game, it is a great race game.
We'll be right back. Better?
Better.
All right.
I don't want to have to do the voice again.
Moving on. Babble. Last one we're talking about. In my opinion, this is the, what was that couch ratio? This is by far the meanest game.
This has an 8.7 on the couch sleep.
Out of 5?
Yes.
It's really, really...
Yeah, this is like a throwdown. Ah! If you don't like having your stuff destroyed, taken away, or smacked about, do not play this game. This game is the meanest by far, I think, out of all these games we've spoken about.
And not only is it mean, but you can fall behind a little bit and still get beat up on.
Oh, yeah.
The first time I played it,
nobody else to pick on.
the guy was like, okay, I'm smashing your monuments. And I said, well, okay, I'm just going to start collecting cards and I'll come back. Had a big hand of cards. He's like, bam, lose half your cards. Bam, lose half of the half you've left. I said, what? It was one of the first times I ever played any of these, and I said, I'm mad. I was actually angry.
If you're playing with someone who has not played this kind of game, don't start with this one unless they are used to machete fights. Because this is a step up from
this one actually is, most of these unfortunately are out of print.
This is actually a Uwe Rosenberg game. This is a great Uwe Rosenberg game. This is before he started designing spreadsheets. And if you like those, the Bean games, Bonanza, and his old card games, Mamma Mia, this is a great
So you're saying this is from his first era?
This is when he used to still design games and not make people work.
Oh, wow. We'll look at his other games. Well, we already did look at one, Agricola. All right, so these are some. There's many more. There's Starship Catan. There's a bunch of very forgettable ones like Crocodile Pool Party. But these are some of the more popular ones. So if you're saying someone gets one, they should get Blue Moon?
I'm saying if someone should get one right now, they should get Jambo.
You know what? I would almost say Lost Cities, but Jambo is probably the most interesting one, and I think it's the one, if we rank them all, I think it's the one that would be the highest on both of our lists.
Right. Top 3 easy on both of our lists.
And the lowest one would be Avalon on our lists, probably.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I mean, Blue Moon's pretty low.
I would make sure I write it at the end of the list and then scratch it out.
Alrighty, well that's it for today. 2-player games. Come back next month and we'll talk about 8-player games. No, or I don't know what we'll talk about. Something.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.